Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is Guide for Circuit de la Sarthe with the Red Bull X2019 competition. Let's get this started. Just a quick note, I have the brake balance at -1 for the time trial, -3 for the race. We're on the X2019 competition in which this car is very tricky to drive. This first right turn can be taken flat out, but bring yourself towards the right, and before you reach the total signs that are on the right, that is where you want to start to brake. Brake hard for a short while and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in, making sure that there are at least 2 wheels that are on the tarmac. And just be nice and careful on the throttle, as it's very easy to spin out at the done-up chicane. Then bring yourself towards the right. Look for this path that is on the right as you want to brake before you pass it. Brake hard for a short moment and slowly get on the throttle as you make your turn. And because this car has a lot of downforce, you can take Tête Rouge flat out, so start to turn in when the blue area on the right starts. Take advantage of the curbs and once again take it flat out. So let's go hyperspeed through this part. Your next braking point is actually the 100-meter board. This car can brake really late. Brake hard for a short while and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in, and you can go through the first Mulsanne chicane on 3rd gear. Just be nice and careful on the throttle, straighten up the car before you start to fully accelerate. And pretty much same braking point, except you want to brake just a little bit past the 100-meter board. And this is just like the first Mulsanne chicane, except it's a little bit sharper, so you do need to slow down a little bit more. Once again, get the car straightened up before you start to fully accelerate. Fast forward through this again. Look for the part where the curb on the right sticks out, as that is your next braking point. Brake hard for a short while and just be nice and careful transitioning over from the brakes to the throttle. Just carefully get on the throttle so you don't spin out. This right turn can be taken flat out, but for Indianapolis, brake just after the curb on the right ends, but make sure you straighten up the car. Brake hard for a short while and just carefully ease off of the brakes as you turn in. For Arnage, I brake just after the solid line on the left ends, so this is before the 50-meter board. Straighten up the car once again and then fully accelerate. For the Porsche curves, you can take it flat out, so just as the green area on the left ends, that is where we want to gradually start to turn in. Once again, take the Porsche curves flat out. Except for this right turn, this is where you want to do a little bit of a lift off of a throttle to set yourself up for this left turn, in which this is where you want to take it flat out for a fast exit. Just try to stay in between the white lines. And finally, for the 4 chicanes, this is where it gets a little tricky, so brake before the curb on the right starts. Brake hard for a short moment, and this is where you need to do a lot of braking and throttle control. Brake before the curb on the right starts, and you can take advantage of the curbs. Just be nice and careful on the throttle so you don't spin out. But that's all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a look at the strategies. For this race, we are doing 5 laps at Circuit de la Sarthe with the Red Bull X2019 competition. This is a warm-up race, and this race is pure torture. But anyways, fuel is a ×1, so fuel not an issue, but tire wear is a ×5. Tire wear is a bit of an issue, especially with the rear tires, so you want the brake balance towards the front of the car. I would say -3 to -5. Also, if you're starting 5th place and behind, have the traction control at 1, because you have to go through the 4 chicanes, and the last thing you want to do is spin out at the very start of the race. So just be nice and careful, and once you go through the main straight, that is where you can bring the traction control to 0 or whatever value you normally have it set to. Don't forget that these cars have a lot of downforce, so dirty air is a big thing. When you have to go through the twisty parts of the track like the Dunlop chicane, Porsche curves, the dirty air will make your car a bit more understeery, so you do need to lift off of a throttle so you don't end up understeering onto the wall or the grass or the gravel. But on the Mulsanne straight, that is where the dirty air, or in this case slipstream, is going to bring a lot of benefits. It'll make your car go a lot faster. And you can even use the slipstream to try to go for pretty easy overtakes, unless the car ahead is also under someone's slipstream. And as you might have seen from that first clip, there was a lot of death that happened in this race. And that's pretty much going to be a thing in this race, because the X2019 competition, it is a terrible car to drive. It's really hard to drive. And yeah, if you're able to keep the car on the track and not spin out, then you'll easily pick up a couple spots. And you want to make sure that you don't spin out, because you want to protect those rear tires. Once again, brake balance towards the front of the car, because the rear tires wear out noticeably faster than the front tires. And if those rear tires wear out too much, good luck, because once the rear tires wear out just enough, that is where the X2019 starts to become really sketchy to drive. So you want to be careful on the throttle. If you can, be easy on the brakes, just to try to make those rear tires last as long as possible. And depending on how you treated the tires, the tire can start to step in at around lap 4, lap 5 if you're taking good care of them. And yeah, once the tire work starts to kick in, just drive a bit more carefully and you should be fine. And yeah, once again, slipstream is very useful here on the Mulsanne straights. So if you're within 3/4 of a second between yourself and the next car, as long as the next car doesn't have anyone that they're getting the slipstream out of, then you'll easily be catching up to them. And once you have to go through a twistier part of the track, that's where the dirty air comes in. So you want to be a little more careful about how you navigate through those turns, so you don't have the dirty air force you off the track or into a wall. But anyways, taking a quick look at the end of the race. So I had the brake balance at -2 and eventually move it on over to -3. Fuel, once again, not an issue. Tire wear, the car did have a bit of sketchy moments, but other than that, the car was still pretty manageable, just trying to take care of those rear tires. And yeah, once again, this is a pretty straightforward 0-stop race, because the tire wear is not bad enough to where you need to go to the pit stop. This is more about survival and trying to take care of those rear tires. And this race is a bit of a short one, actually, 5 laps, with them being under 3.5 minutes. So you're going to get a race that is under 17 minutes. But anyways, let's take a look at places to overtake, in which it should be pretty obvious. Mulsanne straight, lots of places to get the overtake done, especially if the car in front of you doesn't have the slipstream from anyone. But the first penalty serving zone is in the second part of the Mulsanne straight. So just after the first chicane, there is the first penalty serving zone, which you saw the car that is now third place serve the penalty. And we're going to skip on over towards the end of the third part of the Mulsanne straight, where with the slipstream, second place was able to easily get a pass on me, an outside overtake actually, which was pretty well done. And then here comes this next big long straight after the Mulsanne straight, where this is another place where it is possible to get an overtake done, but make sure you try to get it done before you have to navigate through Indianapolis and Arnage, because you have to slow down a lot, and going too wide into the turn before Indianapolis, which is the left turn, it can create a couple of problems. So as you saw right now, I decided to back out of it. I did think about going for the move, but I decided I'm just gonna wait it out. And after Arnage, which is this right turn, here is the next penalty serving zone. So once again, if you have to serve any penalties, you'll be serving it here or in the Mulsanne straight. And there is a third one that is coming up, and that is going to be before the 4 chicanes, just before the pit stop entry, which is right around here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this guide. This is a pretty difficult race, but if you're able to keep the car on the track, you'll easily pick up a couple free positions. So just take care of your rear tires, brake balance towards the front, and yeah, 0-stop race, go flat out. But that is all from me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is MCA, wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.